to the Faraway Galaxy podcast. I'm Connor, portrayed as Cad Bane. We have my compadres.
Hello, my name is Cole, and I'm portrayed by IG-88.
And I'm Adam, and I'm portrayed by Jango Fett.
And we're going to talk about General Grievous today. It's not more of a debate, just more of a discussion on the pros and cons of each General Grievous through the 2003 animated and the animated show by Dave Filoni, and then the Revenge of the Sith version of General Grievous, and then a little bit of like Lego Star Wars General Grievous, because he's kind of cool, not gonna lie. But we're gonna start off with the Revenge of the Sith General Grievous and just talk about what he's done good, what's bad about the character, what we thought we could have, honestly, what they could have improved on. So, Cole, what's your opinion on this General Grievous?
What's your hot take?
Yeah, hot take.
My opinion on the Revenge of the Sith General Grievous is he is one of my favorites out of this group that we have chosen to discuss about, because it was the first one that I saw. I mean, I think most of us probably saw Revenge of the Sith first over the 2003 animated show, and then Dave Filoni's canon Clone Wars show.
I think I'm the only one who probably saw the 2003 one first.
Yeah.
Because I watched that as a kid.
Because I'm in the same boat. I saw Revenge of the Sith before I saw anything else.
That 2003 cartoon series was like, I wouldn't say my first introduction to Star Wars, but more of a toy perspective.
Mm.
When I saw that, I was like, this is when I started getting into the toys.
Yeah.
Because I saw the movies in theater, so...
Anyways, but back to Revenge of the Sith Grievous. I mean, with what he gets in the movie, I think he gets plenty of screen time to make himself a threat to our heroes in the story. I mean, he is in the role of a side villain, so he isn't supposed to have much screen time at all in the first place. But what he does do, he does absolutely gloriously.
Yeah, I mean, all three of those movies, the main villain was the Sith, and Grievous was not the Sith. He was a tool of the Sith. Mm-hmm. But I think obviously that was George Lucas's vision for what Grievous was supposed to be, that in the 2003 cartoon. But, I mean, so.
I think with the Revenge of the Sith Grievous, I kind of see him as a scapegoat, but it's more of a movie scapegoat thing, because they had to separate Anakin and Kenobi to further the story with Anakin.
Plot armor.
Yeah, so they had to use General Grievous in a way of getting Kenobi away, but the scenes with General Grievous are very impactful. The sizzling with his lightsabers for the first time, the countless memes of General Grievous are honestly amazing, but that's not what makes him great. It's more of the fear factor. And then 2000, within the Revenge of the Sith, General Grievous is really good, because he is scary. Like, he's ugly.
Yeah.
Like, the close-up of the eye during the movie was really cool. The revealing of 4 arms, super cool. And kind of just, like, the grotesqueness of himself is, like, he's not a pristine cyborg. He's kind of, like, dirty. Like,
and that's exactly what he was. He was an experiment. He was the foreshadowing of what Anakin would become. Mm-hmm. And so I think that also kind of bolsters his character. It's just like, he's not necessarily meant to be there as the main big bad. He's meant to be there just like Dooku was. And Maul was in the Phantom Menace. He's just this foreshadowing of Anakin. Mm-hmm. So it's...
I also think he plays the role right with... because the CIS wanted... Not just the CIS, but the Republic used Grievous as like a example of like how bad the Separatists were. Yeah, that wasn't just like the Republic using it. It was like Palpatine wanted a figure to show that the Separatists were like evil to the Republic. So the Republic used him as propaganda. It's like, this guy is destructive. He kills innocent people. He's a horrible individual. Which, I mean, he kind of played the role in this movie, for sure. He really didn't care about anything. Like, he seemed pretty dark and get his way. Like, it will mess you up.
I mean, a couple of things just to mention about how powerful he seems to be is just his first introduction when Obi-Wan and Anakin run into him on the bridge when he takes their lightsabers and he says, "A fine addition to my collection." I mean, we all view it as a meme now. It's very funny now, but the fact that he's saying, adding to my collection of lightsabers, how big is this collection of lightsabers that he has now?
Yeah. I mean, it just bolsters the fear factor. Just like he's killed so many Jedi before, like he has a collection of their lightsabers.
Yeah.
And it has that serial killer mentality because, like, what psychologically a lot of serial killers will do is they'll, like, take a souvenir of their kill. So that's exactly what Grievous is doing. He has this vendetta towards the Jedi because of what Dooku told him.
Yeah.
Is that a Jedi was responsible for his needing the cybernetics, and so he's just on this
delusional
blood mission.
Yeah. And I mean, he's also the general of the largest droid army ever created. So I mean, he kind of has more of an ego now. He's just like kind of power hungry.
Yeah. I mean, he was also a god to his people.
Yeah.
So I mean, he
was a killer warrior.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I don't think that was revealed in episode 3. So,
so let's just get to Revenge of the Sith now.
Exactly.
Another just pure show of his brute strength is the fact that when he's getting ready to duel Kenobi, when he just takes off his cape and he goes, "You fool! I've been trained by Dooku in your Jedi arts." The fact that he now knows like almost every Jedi fighting style and knows how to counteract it.
Yeah, it's very intimidating because like having a lightsaber user who doesn't use the Force.
Exactly.
Most Jedi would be like, okay, they don't really understand or know how to use these form factors, but like Grievous can actually, with his cybernetics, do what a Jedi can do, and a little bit, obviously not just a little bit more, a lot more, because 4 blades is a totally unorthodox fighting style that they have to go up against now. So I really think that's like a good introduction to the character to most people.
Yeah.
Just that fear. Do you want to move on to the animated one, or do you want to go to the Star Wars Clone Wars 2003?
I would like to say one more thing about our Revenge of the Sith Grievous by bringing up the novelization of the movie and the fact that it's the section where he's dueling Kenobi. Yeah. How it mentions that Kenobi is literally using every bit of the Force he possibly can just to block all of Grievous' strikes.
Yeah.
And the fact that later on it says Kenobi is probably the only Jedi that could have been able to take on Grievous in a duel. Just
the way he like fights too. Like Obi-Wan is like known for kind of like a defensive style. So.
Yeah.
But I think with this Grievous though, he portrays, I wouldn't say he's perfect, but like he portrays the basics of what Grievous is supposed to be. Like he's supposed to be really hard to kill. He's supposed to be scary, kind of grotesque, very cynical. Like the qualities of Grievous are like super, super well done with this one. Like nothing is overpowering. He's not too good at escaping or whatever. He's not too scary. It's more of like a balance thing. Like he's balanced. I would say like he's a very baseline General Grievous, but I also think that that's due to the movie.
Yeah.
If they gave him more screen time, which they do in other shows, certain qualities are portrayed more.
Absolutely.
Which I guess ruin the character, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the 2003 General Grievous. This is the cartoon that came out before Revenge of the Sith. It's there were 6-minute episodes. And General Grievous, I believe, is in only like I don't know, maybe just maybe 1 or 2. He's on the Coruscant one where they capture the Chancellor, and then he's in.
He's also in the episode where he murders a bunch of Jedi.
Yeah, so that's the introduction of Grievous. Is he basically defeats a Republic like Starfleet, and all that's left is, I think, 6 Jedi
And a Padawan, I think.
Yeah, a couple Padawans, Kiadamundi, Shakti, Aalo Sakura. So these are like name dropping big Jedi. And he basically defeats them all.
Mm-hmm.
This Grievous is my favorite Grievous, but he's very a lot of qualities are way too exaggerated on this one.
Yeah,
I agree.
and not really shown in the movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this Grievous is more of a cool factor, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's more like a wow factor, like a try to suck you into the movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does as well point out what weakens Grievous in Episode 3. The fact that in the episode where Grievous captures the Chancellor, where Mace Windu Force crushes his
which,
chest.
I mean, the cough is cool in Revenge of the Sith, but I mean, I would have been totally fine with the Grievous with no cough and just kind of like a more silent, cold-blooded killer, which is this General Grievous. Very just, you will die. Like, the fear factor is 100%. But that's just the show in general. The show is a cool factor show where it's like, not a lot of dialogue, just a lot of visuals of the way they want to portray characters. So, like, he doesn't even reveal the four
his forearms
in
the
this
TV show.
Yeah, like, he's very conservative. Like, he fights with one leg against Kiadamundi instead of pulling out 4 lightsabers. And, I mean, it just shows, like, how good he was also. Like, this General Grievous, I think, is a lot better as a duelist just because, one, it's animated, so you can do different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, if you animate shows, you can portray characters in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, this one, he can do more acrobatic stuff and just be more extravagant, like,
yes,
just wielding and stuff.
Especially, like, how when he, goes on all four and crawls after the Jedi, that one scene, and they try to force push him through the wall, and he just dodges it. It just shows how powerful he is in the TV show. The fact that he's able to see that they're going to try to force push him and react fast enough to just jump from wall to wall.
And it shows what Dooku taught him. Is it kind of backs up his claim in Revenge of the Sith. Just he knows how to fight Jedi.
Yeah, 100%. And it shows in the show, it shows Dooku training him. But it also shows Dooku in the light of, like, General Grievous can't even touch Dooku.
Yeah.
But it also shows General Grievous just destroyed, like, 6 Jedi. And, like, 2 of them were on the Jedi Council. So it's like...
Yeah. I mean, Dooku does give him his most valuable piece of information in the TV show, that Grievous's main strength would be to drive fear into the Jedi. And if they don't fear you, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Then you need to run.
And I think that's, in the Revenge of the Sith, that is, like, portrayed right in the beginning of the movie. Because, like, in the space, like, I mean, we'll backtrack to the Revenge of the Sith, because at this point, we're going to start comparing them.
Right.
Like, we can talk about them individually, but we're going to have to bounce between a couple of them, because baseline was Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
But, like, in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan don't really fear him in the cockpit. So he kind of loses that ability and then end up kind of basically losing and has to flee.
They basically catch him off guard, and he wasn't ready whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah. The trick wasn't, they didn't fool.
And especially when Kenobi goes to duel Grievous, a part of that fear factor that really helped him in his duel with Kenobi was when he pulled out his forearms and started spinning his lightsabers. However fast he did, that caught Kenobi off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, but Kenobi solved that problem. He cut off the arm, so like that's gone. So it does, reaffirm that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But I would say for the 2003 one, bouncing back to 2003 animated Grievous, to me he felt more of like an assassin, like an adventurous, instead of like I wouldn't say a general. Like, he is a general, but like he seems more of an assassin type character than I guess, cold-blooded serial killer. Or he's
kind of a do-it-yourself kind of guy.
Yeah, he's more collected. Like, I would think he would go more berserk
Yeah.
He's not very berserk. He's very quiet and just
Calm.
cold-blooded, which is cool. 100%
Yes.
really cool, but he doesn't like lash out or anything. I would say though, there is a line which I think is really cool about this Grievous is when the Jedi flee, when like Ki-Adi-Mundi gets saved by like the ARC troopers, Grievous tells the Jedi to run and laughs at them. I think that's really badass and cool. Like that was like, wow, this Grievous does not play games.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like one of my favorite scenes of Grievous in that. The Coruscant scenes I think are really cool. By that point, I think I was kind of like, okay, I've already seen everything of Grievous because that first impression was just so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That the Coruscant one's just like he's just kind of an errand boy right now, trying to capture this Chancellor. And
well, I think as well in this part on the Coruscant, the attack on Coruscant was that you notice that he's kind of going in solo, and you just see him completely obliterate clone after clone after clone, going after the Jedi, trying to save the Chancellor.
And you can see the fear though in Shakti's like face though in that show for the when the second time when she sees him for the second time because she remembers getting basically destroyed by him. So like she knows what Grievous can do and she knows she's no match against him. It's just run away.
Yeah.
Which the fear factor for him is 100% there, which is really cool.
Is it time to move on to the Dave Filoni animated?
Do we have to? Honestly.
As much as you and I might love these two Grievous incarnations, I think it's time we got to move on to Filoni's Grievous.
Hey, we love Dave Filoni.
Absolutely.
Dave Filoni is amazing.
And he did give us quite a bit of Grievous screen time.
Yeah.
Maybe too much.
Maybe.
A little bit.
But that's what we're here to talk about.
Exactly. Not to debate, but to discuss.
Yeah, this is a discussion, not a debate. However, I will say the pros and cons, like, of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of them are perfect. But
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't really have a perfect character. But, so for, like, the 2000... I think the show came out in 2008, you know?
I think the movie was...
2007.
2007 was the movie.
Yeah.
And then a show got greenlit.
Yeah, so... I don't really remember... Well, he's in Season 1 with the Malevolence.
Mm-hmm.
I think Season 1 Grievous...
That was
not bad.
One of the first episodes.
Yeah, I think it's like in the first 5 episodes with the Malevolence, which I think is
I'm
a totally
sure it's the
fun.
second because the first one was the Yoda.
Yeah, with the clones.
Right.
That was the pilot.
And then I think
the Malevolence probably is the second. I think that's a totally probably one of the, it was a good episode for Grievous. There was nothing like bad with it. It
showed a much more cunning Grievous because as he drops in that episode was that he was the one who came up with the idea of the Malevolence. And just you see the destruction that the Malevolence just brings on not just one Star Cruiser, but multiple Star Cruisers.
Well, it destroys your favorite Jedi's like whole fleet.
Oh yeah. Plo Koon.
Yeah.
And his wolf pack. Oh, that's.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like the aspect of the Malevolence is really cool, and Grievous like commanding it, but I wouldn't say it is kind of overpowered. Like it's kind of like a foreshadowing of like not like a Death Star, but like it's a super weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's cool that the anime show shows super weapons in the sense, and then allowing bigger characters like Grievous to like command him. Like I'm glad it's not just like Dooku's ship or something.
Right, and it shows more General Grievous instead of Assassin's Grievous, as opposed to the 2003 show. But
I think that's definitely a very big point for Dave Filoni's Grievous is that it definitely gives him the title General Grievous.
Right. It's actually showing him commanding an army of droids. It's not just him seeking out his blood feud with the Jedi. It's just...
Yeah. I would say, though, like, it's the fault of the show itself, because it is a kid's show. He's not scary at all.
Exactly. And, like, with all this in mind, the 2003 episodes...
It was a more mature audience.
Right. It was catered towards people who are going to see the movie, not a bunch of 10-year-olds watching Cartoon Network.
Yeah, because like the 2003 was on Toonami, and then also it was created by I'm gonna butcher his last name, but it's like Tarkovsky or something. Mm-hmm. He created Samurai Jack. Yeah, so he had a lot of experience with kind of like a dark. Well, Samurai Jack is for kids, but it's kind of a darker show.
Yeah. I mean, it did go to Adult Swim for its final season.
Yeah, so
which came much later, but still
the core concepts of like the darkness of the show was in there.
Yes.
So he was like a really good animator for that show because of the cool factor. That was like the best part about it, making it cool. But back to the animated 2008 Grievous. He can't be too scary because it's for kids. I would say he could have like the animation style got better over the seasons. Like,
absolutely.
I think in like the final seasons, the last time we see Grievous, like he looks really cool, and he finally has a cape.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't like how he didn't have a cape.
Oh well, no, he had the cape, and
there was a lot of times where he didn't have a cape.
Yeah,
like
true.
Like he would just be walking around without a cape, and I understand that battle wise, but like he looks weird in this show
walking without his cape.
Yeah, if he's in like a hangar or something, or in like the command center with all the droids, just like in a ship, and he doesn't have a cape on. To me, it looks weird because like Revenge of the Sith, he has a cape. 2003. He has a cape. Like the cape doesn't come off.
Yeah.
So when I don't
until
see
he
him,
goes for combat.
Yeah. So when I see him without a cape, it's kind of weird. But that's kind of like just a little nitpick.
Yeah.
With it, but that's just me. Like, just saying, like you got to put a cape on the man. Yeah. He's not a superhero, but
I think all that to say, as far as the kids show and not being able to show the fear factor, there are still subtle references to that fear factor because. You have, specifically speaking, when they track Grievous's base down in later seasons, you are given this much more mature fear as they're just walking through, just the kind of setting, just the dark cave-like setting. It seems like they're hunting a beast.
Yeah, because he has trophies everywhere.
Right.
It's just
it goes back to that serial killer aspect where he just. The arrogance, he's got monuments to himself. He's got all his different, cybernetic body parts. They fawn, or I don't guess they fawn those, but like you see that as he's being repaired, just the walls of extra parts and stuff. And then you come to his trophy room, where it's just table after table after table of lightsabers.
Padawan tails.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of creepy though. Like I'm glad they showed that because it like helps like the character as a whole in the show, and it was a good like couple episodes with that. There is a couple things in those episodes that I don't like. Is like yes, he couldn't kill Kit Fisto because like you
Pawn
can't.
armor.
Yeah, so like he kills his apprentice or something, and he tells Dooku that he like killed a Jedi, but it wasn't Kit Fisto, but Dooku thought it was, and kind of got like mad. So it kind of just made him seem like a little, I don't know how to say it, but just not as cool, I guess. Like,
yeah, he definitely didn't plow through Jedi like he did in that
like a lot
2003.
Of like killing apprentices is cool, but it's kind of just like, okay, dude, that's cool. Like I feel like the show could have made a couple one-off Jedis because the Jedi Order is huge. They could have just made up a character and had him die.
I will say,
like a knight or something.
My biggest problem with the episode, which is called Grievous Intrigue, was when he duels Nemnadar, who was Kit Fisto's old apprentice, who is now a Jedi.
Yeah.
On a Master, though. Well, he's not on the Council.
He's not on the Council, but he was... He passed his...
Yeah.
He's a Jedi Knight.
Yeah. But my biggest problem was Grievous doesn't finish him off with a lightsaber. He sneaks a blaster up and shoots him in the gut. And, and it's an underhanded trick, but that's not the Grievous that a lot of people had known to that point. That he would just have a blaster on him and just go
But I think that's just like a fact of like, so they took a lot of elements from the 2000, from Revenge of the Sith, Grievous, and they kind of just overused them. So like Grievous just somewhat having a blaster laying around is kind of just like the blaster just laying around when Kenobi like kills him. Like it's just there. So like Grievous has a blaster kind of now, or like somehow he just pulls out a blaster.
The thing I've heard a lot of critique about that scene, and at first when I saw that scene, I was kind of confused. I was like, that's not really, I mean, overpowered Grievous that we've seen in the past. But when you think about Revenge of the Sith a little bit deeper, I mean, how does that Kenobi Grievous fight end? It's like them rolling around in the mud. I mean, trying to get the upper hand on each other. There's no lightsaber combat at that point.
Dirty combat.
Exactly. So Grievous isn't opposed to fighting dirty, as so long as he kills the Jedi.
Yeah, so whatever he wants to do, he'll do it to get the win. Which I guess is cool, in a sense, but I feel like in this animated show, they take a lot of the elements of that Revenge of the Sith Grievous and just like overuse them, like not even just kind of like voice lines in general, just like voice lines using his 4 lightsabers, the sizzling of like spinning them. I think they use that just too much, and it just kind of makes the character like, oh, this is Grievous. Like there's nothing new. It's kind of just like, you've seen this before. You're overusing this. You should have like conserved him better. Make him like use these elements of Grievous at better times. Like I feel like they just use him whenever he's on screen. Like they throw it all at you. Like just like any Grievous voice line. Like what's a good one? Like
autistic coughing.
No, not just that, but just like, well, they do use a lot of coughing. But like, what's like one of his voice lines he'll say in episode 3? Just like not the hello there, but like usually like he'll say something in that movie, and then they'll play it like multiple times in the like cartoon.
I mean, they definitely bring up the fact that he hates the Jedi a lot.
Yeah, like that is an example.
They kind of.
I mean, that is the driving force of the character, though.
Yeah.
Now, what the coolest moment is when he has Obi-Wan pinned and he gives his whole reasoning. Is like he doesn't care about a stupid war between 2 different governments. He just cares about killing the Jedi. That was actually a really cool quote.
Yeah.
But I think just how he keeps saying, "I hate you, Jedi."
Yeah, just like the little just phrases I feel like are just used over and over, and it gets kind of annoying to watch because he doesn't really do anything in the show that's super significant.
I think the problem with that, though, is the fact that they put, most of the time, either Obi-Wan or Ahsoka up against Grievous. And since those two, Obi-Wan has plot armor, because he lives into episode 4, and Ahsoka is the main character, and they wouldn't most likely kill her off whatsoever.
Yeah, honestly, imagine if Grievous killed Ahsoka in that show.
When they're fighting on the station.
I mean,
imagine that.
George wanted Ahsoka dead, and if Grievous actually killed her, would have made Grievous kind of more badass, but also would have just been like, yeah, you just wasted a character. So, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah.
That would have sucked.
So, just a major fault about what they did was they gave too many plot armor character fights against Grievous. And again, since this was a kid's show, most of the time they want the heroes to win to have a good moral lesson at the end for kids. So, they obviously were going to have Grievous lose a lot.
Yeah, like he did win a couple times, which I'm glad when he did win because it was just a kind of a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot better than just another, oh, you just got beat by Ahsoka, and then fled away in an escape pod.
Well, especially when the show got a little more mature. As it started getting older, it started getting more and more mature.
Because the audience was growing up.
Exactly. But I think Grievous at his best in the Clone Wars TV show was when the raid on the Night Sisters.
Oh, that was a beautiful episode.
Yeah, because it shows, like, well, that's also in the comics, too.
Yeah.
Like, which I think is, like, honestly, it's kind of a peak. It's like peak General Grievous. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get anything better than that.
I definitely agree that is peak Grievous. I mean, you just see him tear through the multiple Night Sisters and then completely obliterate the Queen.
Yeah, because they're constantly on the advance. They're never pushed back. It's like even with the Night Sister, because they pull out like a secret weapon, like the dead Night Sisters, like they do a little bit of work, but they still don't stop the droids at all. Like the droids, it's just they do what they were built to do, and Grievous does what he was really intended to do. Is like he's always on the front line. He's advancing. He's like giving or throwing fear in the face of this people, and so I definitely agree that that's probably the best. That's definitely my favorite Grievous movie.
I also think it's probably the best because it's like it's not filler.
Yeah.
Like, this is a story-driven Grievous. Like, this is like for the story. This needed to happen for Sidious's grand plan. So, like, there's meaning behind all the actions, and it's just a normal wave of, like, consequences and actions. It's just really not a goose chase.
Yeah, and this is at the end of that series, so we
There's
are
story there.
Right. We are getting to where Sidious is really putting his plans into action. He's cleaning house. He's really like
he's cutting loose ends.
Exactly.
And it gives Grievous something to do instead of just doing one-off battles and stuff. It's just more enjoyable to see some type of story.
But then as well the fact that Grievous literally his whole charge forward. Yeah, a couple of Night Sisters halt his progression, but he just cleans them like they were nothing. Just his raw strength in that whole scene was phenomenal.
And as few and far between, because we have discussed kind of the blandness of that the series can portray Grievous with, but as few and far between, I think definitely, and I think it's logical that this, was it 7 seasons of Clone Wars? It's logical that this provides the most character development, as opposed to the 6-minute episodes. Total of 12 minutes that Grievous was in.
He was only in like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, of course they're gonna jam pack everything they can in that 12 minutes to make him the coolest fucking character you can like be. So of course that's gonna happen.
I mean, they canceled the mini series that would be a part of a season where it was focused on the Battle of Utapau.
Yeah.
Where Grievous, as well, just how it's the very poor animation, but the voices are still there. And the characters are like T-posing, basically. But you also just see as well the pure strength, but also cunning of Grievous in the few scenes.
Yeah, I agree. Like, just giving him a story / objective that's not filler makes the character great. So if they could have done that more in the animated show, it would have been nicer. But you couldn't really do that because, like, if you're going to make 7 seasons, you're going to have filler, you're going to have just random goose chases where people just gotta, he has to be there, he's going to be the villain for this episode, and then he's going to run away.
Right.
Like, that's the typical thing that's going to happen. And it's kind of Grievous's character. It's not my favorite part about him, but it's just what had to be for the show's sake.
Because they couldn't have him get captured. Otherwise, it'd be like, well, how does he somehow break out to be a villain in episode 3?
His plot armor,
What would you say this Grievous, though, has done well?
I mean, I think what we talked about, I mean, just... I think it's more subtle in this series. It's just because it is implied. There isn't... I mean, the Jedi always fear encountering him. Like, there are quippy moments and stuff, but none of the Jedi ever go up to Grievous without a healthy fear or without a healthy helping of reservedness, for lack of a better word. Like, they
know what he's
careful. They know what he's capable of. and they show what he's capable of. Because as we talked about before, I mean, just the tables and tables of lightsabers and Padawan tales. I mean, he's killed a ton of Jedi. So I think as it is a kids show, and as it is or was originally made for kids, I think they had to be a little bit more subtle about it, because we did talk about earlier how, because it was a kids show, they had to kind of dial it back and really show the good guys more winning, just to be a good example. And that's obvious because every episode has this little, in the beginning, it's got that little quote.
Oh yeah, like
a little
the
proverb.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Yeah,
I like those.
and so the whole series is really to
teach lessons and stuff.
Right, yeah, teach lessons, teach good values, because I think it does show the Republic. It shows the Jedi. It's not really a show about the Separatists.
Yeah, I mean there are certain episodes where the Separatists are the main characters, but that's just showing the good side of the Separatists.
Right. Yeah,
like they can't really show the bad side of like Grievous's actions.
There is one thing of Grievous though that really is done well in the Clone Wars TV show.
Are you gonna say the Gungans?
No,
okay.
I'm not gonna bring up the Gungans right now. If you want to bring up the Gungans,
I'd love to bring up the Gungans. No. I don't think I think a lot of people.
Let Cole say whatever he wants to say.
I was gonna say though that he really has. It's really done well. The fact of his cunning, like the fact of his plans.
Yeah,
they're always really thought out, and the fact that but the fact that as well that the only way they can ever most of the time beat him is by coming up with a strategy to outsmart him.
Yeah,
like with the Malevolence, they have to be able to take out the gun before he can fire it,
right?
And they have to do a sneak mission, and they have to take Grievous's focus away from the person going in to sabotage the main weapon.
Right.
And as well, when they go to save Eth Koth, Obi-Wan is a distraction for Grievous to go attack while Anakin goes in for the save.
Yeah.
And then with the same thing with the Gungans, how Jar Jar looks the exact same as their leader, Boss
Leone.
Boss Leone, yes.
That sounds such like an Italian mob boss. I'm not even gonna... I always forget that guy's name, but it's like, that is...
How Jar Jar disguising himself as Boss Leone and just goes and distracts Grievous for enough time for the Gungans to disarm Grievous's whole army right there. It just shows how much they fear Grievous, and they have to come up with a plan to just take his attention away in order to actually deal a blow to him.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's not bad. I mean, I'm kind of a skeptic on the scene, like, yes, the Gungans defeated General Grievous. Gungans are great warriors, okay? I understand that. There's just a stigma behind them of being goofy.
The thing is,
Jar Jar.
Exactly. Like, I think the character of Jar Jar, but
it's
the Gungans hate Jar Jar.
Well, yeah.
Because he's an idiot.
Well,
they started liking him after episode 1, though. That's the thing.
It's not a Star Wars argument without bringing up Jar Jar.
Right. I don't know.
They do start liking Jar Jar because he helps lead them against the droids.
Yeah.
And they come out victorious.
Even, who's the general that gets killed?
Captain Tarpal.
Captain Tarpal. Like,
he's a great Gungan.
He's a good Gungan. He has sentiment towards Jar Jar. Like
they're friends. They're friends.
Right.
Like he was in episode 1.
He lets them...
But he knows Jar Jar's a goofball.
Yeah. But even that fight scene, it's... I mean, you've got Gungans who handle it almost as well as the clones do when they try to capture him in the his base, his cave. They go for the arms, so they handle it with good strategy.
Yeah, you do make a great point with the fact that they do know to go for the arms, but then as well the fact that they know to disarm Grievous as they see him demolish their EMPs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the plasma balls.
Yeah, the plasma balls. How
Naboo has plasma.
They're quick thinking.
Yeah, and so then they decide they need to disarm him because they know those lightsabers will just chop the plasma balls to bits. And so Captain Tarpals sacrifices himself to get close, and
But I mean,
and the Gungans know to react.
Obviously, Grievous is gonna run away though, so it's like
plot armor. But it's still a good scene. I think it's better than. Yeah. It I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you remember, they did a trade Grievous for Anakin, so Dooku duels Anakin and beats the snot out of him for
that just like brings up another thing though, is where the show Anakin and Grievous have never met in episode 3. So like just the weird trading off between the two characters, like the split second like flybys, like oh he's in this ship and Grievous is in this ship, and they just go ooh right past each other. That stuff kind of bugs me. Like that's cool, but also just kind of annoying. Like just don't even bring them in the same planetary system or something. Just like keep them completely separate.
Yeah.
Like Cad Bane, like did he ever interact with like? I don't know. Yeah, he did interact with like Ahsoka and like Anakin and Obi-Wan, but like he was never around Yoda, like to my knowledge. You know what I mean? Like
no,
those characters were just completely opposites, and those are two pretty big characters. You know, like, and obviously they have nothing in common, but like you don't need Anakin and Grievous to fly by each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just put Grievous up with somebody else. Like, I know Anakin's like the main guy, but keep him away. He's supposed to be away. I don't like these close calls. It's weird. They get too close.
Yeah. They could have done maybe a bit more spin-offs where they did more Grievous focus. I mean, you know, there was a spin-off with R2 and his droid faction.
That's true. Yeah.
And they did a couple of weird spin-offs like that. Whereas,
that would have been cool.
Another one, R2 and C-3PO's little journey into the mystical land where Wolf was.
So why couldn't we just have like a Grievous episode of like him hunting stuff?
That's what I'm referring to. And I mean, as well, another thing, but was the whole Boba arc where he kills Cad Bane. Like, if they were going to do a spin-off with Boba Fett, they could have done a spin-off with General Grievous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities with the character, but
I think that's what they were trying to do with the Battle of Utapau.
Probably.
But I would need to know more.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Pretty sure the Battle of Utapau was a Kyber crystal chase. With like a spider guy. Or something.
Yeah, Grievous kills him, right?
I don't know. It's just a weird, messy arc.
Was that the
unfinished?
Yeah. But was that Spider General
the same one?
No, it's different.
Yeah, I think it was a different guy.
Oh, gotcha.
But kind of same concept. But it could possibly be the same. I'm not sure.
But he failed Grievous, and Grievous just goes, "You failed me for the last time."
Yeah. Okay, so which Grievous could improve the most, though? Because now we're at the point where we've discussed them all. Like we discussed all the besides the Lego Grievous, Grievous.
We're saving that for the end.
That's
the best for last.
Best Grievous.
Best for last.
He's already been placed first, but who's second?
Just go.
Who is second? Yeah, only to Lego Grievous.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think, to be honest, all three Grievouses are kind of different. I mean, you've got the 2003 Grievous who's so vicious and just unrelenting,
cool. Just awesome,
right? And
cool,
and obviously that's the advertise the movie. But I don't know. Would we allow for more screen time? Because if we had more screen time, I think that Grievous could be really great.
100% agree.
Yeah,
100%.
But I don't know if in Revenge of the Sith, I don't know if he necessarily needed more screen time because he wasn't the main villain.
Yeah, no, he was
a tool.
I guess, yeah. But is being a tool for a character a good thing or a bad thing?
I think to push what it was trying to push, because what it was trying to do is it was trying to show, it was really trying to highlight Palpatine. It was really trying to.
The prequels were Palpatine's movies.
Correct. Because
it's his story.
It's the revenge of the Sith. Grievous is not the Sith. It's Palpatine. The focus is on Palpatine's rise to Emperor. And so I don't know. I think Grievous did what he was meant to do, and that was to serve as a distraction for the Jedi,
and the Outer Rim sieges.
Exactly.
But the thing is, as well, is Grievous wasn't just serving as a pawn of Palpatine, but he was rather, as what you had brought up earlier, was the fact that he was an embodiment of what Anakin was going to become
Exactly.
in Darth Vader, in that they're basically the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Body parts barely remaining, just like their internal organs. Now Anakin obviously has a little bit of flesh, but he's missing 2 legs, 2 arms. He's in a cybernetic suit. He's full of hatred of the Jedi.
Yeah.
This is totally off topic, but like my favorite part about Grievous from Revenge of the Sith, though, just thinking about it, is when Kenobi opens up his chest and he just has this weird voice line of just like wop wop wop, and just smacks him. Like it sounds like it's probably his native language or something.
That's the theory, is that he's just cursing out Kenobi in his native language.
I just think it's kind of funny, and it's a different voice line. It's only used once. So.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Yeah, I think episode 3 Grievous was pretty damn good.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
He was really good. Which kind of leads us to the Dave Filoni Clone Wars, which was good. It was a kid's show, so we got to keep that in mind. It was a kid's show, and then as it progressed, it got a little bit more mature. But I think it still did what it was supposed to do. But I think, as we discussed before, if they did a few spin-off episodes where it gave Grievous a little bit more character development, I think it would be. I think he could have improved.
It's like the Lego Star Wars Grievous. In the Lego games, they took all the bad of the Grievous and put all the good ones and made them in the little cutscenes.
Yeah.
And that's what you got. And it's basically the Star Wars animated show, but in Lego form. Right there. Best Grievous. 100%. Yeah. But personally, though, my favorite is the 2003. Just because, like, I'm a sucker for the cool factor. Like, I love that whole show. Is amazing. Like, I love the animated show.
Yeah.
Like, by Dave Filoni. Amazing. Great story.
Art.
Just beautiful. However, that 2003 show just hits different.
Yeah.
In a sense of, like, action. Like, it's like what you imagine Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you imagine Grievous, that's what I like to imagine. But then when you imagine, like, plot Grievous or something, episode 3... And then I guess cartoon Grievous is just like, this is what he would be in a cartoon for kids. So,
if I have to pick a Grievous, I think I'd have to go with episode 3 Grievous.
Yeah.
In all honesty, because it's the best of both worlds. If you really think about it, it shows the ruthlessness and action from the 2003. Shows the cunning and a little bit of the coward side.
Yeah.
But as well, just the pure wanting a challenge Grievous.
Absolutely. And I think both the Clone Wars TV show and the 2003 animated show are both two extremes of what Grievous is. It's like the Clone Wars TV show is more cunning and cowardice, and it just does whatever he can to win. And then you've got just brute force in the 2003 show. So.
And I mean, plus 2003 is not, like, it's not canon. Like, because, I mean, one, the Disney thing, but also just, like, the sense at the time.
Clone Wars.
Yeah. But at the time, George, like, they gave the director of, like, the cartoon, like, this is what this character is, like, our idea of it. But, like, it wasn't finalized. Like, they just gave him a brief, like, this is kind of what we're thinking. And then they spun it off on, like, what they thought would be. And I mean, I think they spun it off pretty well.
And and it's not that George Lucas didn't have a healthy bit of input in the Clone Wars TV show. I mean, Dave Filoni has done really well as far as...
Well, because, I mean, George basically taught Dave.
Exactly.
Like, and Dave still wants to hold true to what George's vision was. Right. I mean, he said it himself that he wants to make sure he does what George would have done.
Well, I think, in conclusion, Lego Star Wars Grievous is the best.
Exactly.
So, can't really argue with that.
Nope.
So, on that note, I'd like to thank you guys for listening. This is the Faraway Galaxy podcast.